evening, guys. Good evening. People seem to really enjoy the style of Q&A video that I did maybe a few months ago now. Maybe it was like 6 months ago. So I thought I would do it again. I thought I would do a Q&A but throughout the day. That's what we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it a Q&A throughout the day. I love when things rhyme. And I'm looking through everyone's questions, and a lot of the questions, pretty much 80%, are quite juicy and all about relationships, dating, relationship. You guys want the tea and you want it now. So I mean, I did say ask me juicy questions, so I guess here we are. The first question I'm going to answer is, did I move to New York? Another question in that category is, since you're in the US so much, would you consider moving there? I did consider it. I considered being based more part-time in America, and I do have a visa, so that was what was able to help me consider that, if that makes sense. And whilst I spend so much time in the US, I do think I'm a London girl at heart, and I have explored. I spent a lot of last year in Miami, more on that later, and I spent a lot of this year in New York. I'm really lucky that I'm able to split my time up so much now, like do 2 weeks of the month in New York, which is what I've been doing this year, and or like a month here and a month in America. But as of right now, full time, I feel like when I want to kind of settle down and have roots somewhere, I feel like it will probably be London. But I am a Gemini at my core, and I know it's so annoying when people blame their star signs for things, but Geminis love and are very notorious for loving flexibility and options, and that is really how I feel. I don't know if I fully relate to a lot of the Gemini-esque traits, but that I really relate to. I love having all the options. I love having flexibility. I love having variety, and that is what being able to split my time allows me to have. I don't think it would work like long term, and it worked last year in Miami, but I would not be opposed to living in New York or Miami. I don't think I would live in LA. I don't know about LA, but only because I spend a lot of my time on this like Europe time zone, and LA Europe is an 8-hour time difference, whereas Miami, New York, London, or Miami, New York, like Europe is 5-6 hours. So that's much more of an easier time zone to manage, to stay in touch with people for work, to stay in touch with like family and friends and stuff, whereas 8 hours is like the whole day. That is honestly probably the only reason, but it affects so much of the other side of my life. Okay, I'm actually gonna go downstairs and make some food. Okay, we're having a cozy evening, me and you, and as I'm going to make myself a little snack, I wouldn't even call this dinner, it's kind of a snack. It's like 4:30, so that is why it's snack time. Can you talk a little bit about why you are gluten-free and what you do to maintain your health? So I keep getting this question because I talked a lot about my IBS and SIBO journey, and I had SIBO, which is small intestine bacterial overgrowth. I had that 7 or so years ago, so that was kind of before its time, honestly. Like, no one had really heard of it, and now I hear about it all the time, and I hear people talking about SIBO all the time. It was honestly a lot of trial and error, but I did a lot of food intolerance tests. All of them, every single one, said that I'm intolerant to gluten, I'm allergic to gluten, and I need to fully just cut it out. I'm such an all or nothing person, and for, I think it was 9 months, I had no sugar, no fruit, or like very minimal, no rice, which is like basically all my diet. So many other things, like so many other restrictions, nightshades, like you name it. It was honestly really challenging, especially in a culture where food is so much about being social. And I was in a relationship at the time, and my relationship was basically entirely based around going for lunch and going for dinner. And all of a sudden, I couldn't really go for lunch and go for dinner, and we had nothing else in common and nothing else to do. And COVID did kind of change that. Like, you would see friends and go for a workout class or go for a walk. It became like going for a walk with a friend. Like, that became much more normal. But yeah, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, the food thing was very challenging. So anyway, the gluten-free thing came about from that. That was the #1 thing I felt like made such a difference. Dairy I'm really conscious around, but I love butter and I love cheese, but I'm not the kind of person that's having cheese every day. I was having gluten every single day. Such an all or nothing person with a lot of things, and gluten was one of those things that I knew as soon as I had a little croissant or a little baguette or a little cake or whatever, it was a slippery slope and I would get sick again. And so many people said, oh, it's different in Italy, it's different in France, why don't you test it out, why don't you reintroduce and see? And for me, it's just not worth getting sick. Like, there are so many amazing good gluten-free options, and even more now than there were 7 years ago. And now, 7 years ago when you go to a restaurant and say you're gluten-free, especially in London, they would look at you with 10 heads and wouldn't know how to process you. Like, I remember even going to Zuma, which is a super high-end restaurant, and saying I'm gluten-free, and they were like, we have nothing you can eat, you can't eat here, freaking out. Whereas now it's totally normal. They're like, oh, we have a gluten-free menu, we have gluten-free soy sauce. So many restaurants cater to being gluten-free, and it's not something that people like look at you weirdly anymore. Anyway, my point being of all of that was that was why I decided to be gluten-free and stay gluten-free. For example, right now I'm having soft pitas. These are Warburtons. I've never had them before, but I do really like the Shah. If you're looking for like supermarket gluten-free, the Shah gluten-free stuff is really, really good. I did a sponsorship with them once, and I've fallen in love with them since. I think everything is amazing. They do fingers, they do breads. Their bread is, I think, the best gluten-free bread that I've tried. A lot of gluten-free stuff is disgusting, honestly. It's really quite bad, and you can feel it like staying in your stomach. There's a great, if you're based in London, a great bakery called Libby's, and they are a fully gluten-free bakery, which is great. We love them. And now I feel like when I meet people and when I go out for a meal and I just say, hi, I'm gluten-free, it's just so much easier. The SIBO journey honestly was an interesting one, and it's something that takes constant managing. It's not something that goes away. Anyone with IBS or any sort of intestinal issue will know that it's definitely not something that goes away. I found the biggest impact that I know on my body and on myself with SIBO is my environment. If I have ever, and I have been in quite a few relationships that don't agree with me, like where I don't want to use the word toxic because I don't want to put so much blame on someone else, or I don't know, I don't want it to be perceived that way, but relationships where I don't feel like I'm really aligned with the relationship, or I'm just not happy, that really flares up so much in my body. It's so interesting, and it's actually funny because Billie Eilish, I think it is, sings a line in her song like, my stomach upset all of the time, and I think it's true. I think stomachs, everyone says stomach's a second brain, and I do think it's true. So it is something that takes constant managing. I was constantly testing myself, waiting for test results, seeing test results, and I got so sick of it, honestly, that in the end I just stopped and decided to go on how my body felt rather than test results, because even when I felt fine and I had bad test results, it would just make me so upset, and I felt like I was working really hard and managing so much in my life, like cutting out different stresses, different foods, not going here, not eating this, being so careful with so many things, that I felt like so unrewarded when I saw the negative test results. But if this is resonating with you, if this is something you're going through now, I really feel for you, because it is such a hard thing to manage, and it is something really frustrating when you're sick and you can't figure out why. That was the case with me for almost a year, I think, and it is so disheartening and actually quite scary and really frustrating when you know you don't feel well but no one can tell you why. Anyway, I'm making myself a little dins now. Gonna make myself, well, if you watched my vlog recently, my sister showed me this like tuna mayonnaise corn dish, which was very simple and very easy. This is my little early snack. I got the fancy mayo. I'm loving these chatty Q&As. Let me get to the next question while I do this. Normally this would take me no time at all, but because I'm chatting, it's taking longer. Next question. Do you go to Miami anymore? What happened with that guy? You know what's funny? And I can only say this on YouTube. This is why I love YouTube so much, is because I can really be myself on YouTube, whereas I don't feel as comfortable on TikTok and Instagram sharing things. I feel like they get sort of misconstrued in different ways. But I never actually said I had a man in Miami. I posted, what did I post? I think I posted like a hand or like a leg. I don't know. I was a bit more coy about that one, wasn't I? So I do go to Miami still. I am gonna go again this year, hopefully soon. I love Miami. I really fell in love with Miami. I love the vibes. I love the lifestyle. I made such a nice life for myself there and so many nice friends. Me and the man are still friends and still in touch. Not in a romantic way though. Did you ever end any friendships? I could honestly write a list. I could write a list. Unfortunately, I have ended quite a few friendships. Some like in a confrontation and some fizzled. I genuinely believe that is such an important part of life, like letting go. And I saw this quote, I'm going to send it to you, tell it to you. It was on Instagram, my friend Gina's husband posted it. Something I learned about happiness at 35. It's not achievement, it's absence. Absence of debt, absence of toxic people, absence of pointless obligations. Everyone's adding things, trying to find happiness. It's usually about subtracting. Remove what drains you, and happiness isn't something you find, it's what remains. Sorry, that was my toast. I absolutely loved that. I loved it. It gave me goosebumps because I think so many times, especially in friendships, I've kept friendships going for respect almost of what the friendship was, but it's not currently that anymore. And I really struggle with the feeling of outgrowing someone. And I don't think that means that you're interested in different things or that you have different life paths. Like my friend and I, Natasha, are completely different people, like completely different people, completely different lifestyles, but we still speak all the time. We're still super close. I think it also depends on so many different factors. This is my little tuna sandwich. Oh, so good. Wow, when I say, do you guys want the tea? You really come through with asking me for the tea. Oh, I have lipstick on my thingy now. Anyway, next question as I eat my sweet treat. I walked right into this question actually because I brought it up. Like, I brought up the elephant in the room, and now I need to answer questions about said elephant in the room. So here we go. How was bumping into your ex at the Florence wedding? Some things you couldn't make up. Some things you couldn't make up. Going to a wedding with an ex is very possible. You have mutual friends. And speaking of friends and friendship groups, I make a very conscious effort when I break up with someone. I don't like keeping friends around that overlap too much. There are some specific scenarios, but generally friends I make through a boyfriend, I don't really like to keep if they're close to that particular ex-boyfriend. Anyway, only because I think to fully get over someone you need to, maybe eventually down the line you could be friends again, but I don't personally want to hear or be tempted to hear something that my ex is doing, especially when I'm trying to like move on and get past the relationship. That was a random side note. Some things you can't avoid, however, some things you can't make up. Being on the same flight on the way home, there are 4 flights a day that go home from Florence. There are what, 200 seats on the plane? I don't know how many seats there are on the plane. 80 seats on the plane. He is the direct, exact seat behind me. Of all the seats on the plane. Kind of weird that, isn't it? It's almost like he hacked my British Airways account. Anyway, it was fine actually. My aunt was there, my parents were there, my sister and her husband were there, so I wasn't alone. We do get on as friends, so it was actually not awkward, but it is still kind of awkward, but like the least awkward that it could be awkward. Do you know what I mean? We didn't do too much talking. We weren't ever sat together, obviously. And actually the wedding was 200 people, which I thought would be quite hard to avoid him. Not that I was avoiding him, but I didn't actually see him as much as I thought I would. But we do really get on, and when we spoke at the wedding, we like laughed and had a good time, but we didn't really hang out. It wasn't really the vibe. We also weren't in the same hotel. There were 2 wedding hotels, and by coincidence we booked different wedding hotels. But getting on the plane on the way home and seeing him sat directly behind me, we both just laughed. I was like, you could not make this up. Every seat on the plane, what are the chances? In hindsight, I should have switched with my parents and my sister because that was just like a little bit too close for too long. More on this later because I've screenshot all the questions and there were definitely some more questions on that. Have you met Susie's baby yet? We have a date in the diary. It's actually so difficult, let me tell you, to get dates in the diary. Me, Victoria and Susie were trying to overlap dates and we couldn't, so I'm actually going separately to Victoria. And I'm actually away when Susie's doing a birthday. She's doing like a birthday lunch and I'm away. And then I get back maybe 2 days after that, and then I'm gonna be home, and then 2 days later I'm gonna go see her and see Delilah. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, I need to show you. I need to show you what I got her. These are my literal favorite gifts to get little girls, and I thought Delilah is like the perfect gift. I'm gonna get her something else as well that's coming, but I was so excited that Susie had a girl because, well, I love little girls. I love little boys too, but little girls can get handbags A to Z. I'll link these down below because they're such a great gift. Look, A is for Alexander McQueen, B is for Bottega, H is for Hermes, G is for Goyard, O is for Olympia Tan, P is for Prada. I'm going to educate this girl. Not that Susie isn't going to educate her, but I feel like it's my duty as Aunt Amelia to educate as an aunt would. Case in point. Number 2, ABCs of jewelry. A is for Alhambra, B is for Bulgari, L is for Lorraine Schwartz. I'm kind of banking on the fact that Susie's too busy right now to be watching my videos, so she won't see this. S is for Serpenti. Anyway, Susie, if you're watching this, sorry that I have ruined this gift for you, but it's actually for Delilah, not for you, and me and Delilah have a lot to discuss together, and I'm very excited. After I cry, because I will definitely cry when I hold her. Oh god, it's gonna get emotional. Okay, what is the best piece that you bought this year? That is tough. That is tough, honestly. I did not buy it, but someone bought it. But my Hermes 25, Birkin 25 in Rouge H. Oh my gosh, that is just such a dream bag. It's such a dreamy, dreamy colour. I should paint my nails that colour next, actually. What are some struggles that you're going through with dating? I know I'm not the only one. Okay. Some dating struggles that I have personally found. If you have a bad date, I don't know if it's just me, but it makes me really lose hope if there's like a really bad date, or like, oh my gosh, firstly on a date, on a bad date is awful because you just want to leave and you're like, this is terrible. This is a waste of my time, it's a waste of your time. I wish I had the strength to just be like, look, we're not into this, you're not into this, I'm not into this, or maybe they are into it and then you offend them, oh my gosh, but this ain't going anywhere. Should we just call it a day? Or do we have to pretend to care for the next 2 hours, hour and a half? Like, I wish I could do that. I don't have the strength to do that. The second dating struggle is when you get home and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose the will. There is not a singular decent human out there. It really makes you like lose faith. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but sometimes I get home and I close the door and I'm like, oh my gosh, I would rather be alone. I would rather be alone. This is not worth it. I can't do this. And then, you know, you pick yourself up and you get on with it again. But the number one thing I have found in dating struggles is to just not care. I got to a point of going on dates and I would barely do my hair. I would barely do my makeup. Like, I wouldn't think about my outfit. I would just wear the same thing every time, honestly. Like jeans and tee vibes. Like jeans and tee and maybe heels if going somewhere nice. And I remember speaking to my friend Diana about this. She just ended up not caring and she went to Scott's, I think it was, or George. One of the very fancy private members clubs in London. And she said she went with like one of the plastic bags like from a food shop. Footwear like had a cucumber poking out of it and stuff and just like didn't care. Just like went on her food shop. And anyway, the moral of the story is that is the way to be, because when you're detached, I don't know, I just think good things happen. I genuinely think the art of detachment, on a separate side note, is just so important, not just in dating but in life. Like when you're a bit more detached to things, like that's for me when it happens. Like I know that's kind of the opposite of manifesting, because it's like focus and go and like, you know, dream it and I don't know, like remove negative doubts and fears, but there's something about knowing that that's your like end goal but being a bit detached from it. Something in that really works for me personally. I think the other struggle with dating is that the married peeps or the relationship peeps forgot what the streets were like, and they say to you, you know, like, are you on apps? Are you on apps? Like, you gotta get out there. Like, oh no, you stayed in last night, don't you want to like get out there? And like, what are some other horrendous things they say? Like, I'm sure we can all pool together and come up with them. And no offense to the relationship peeps, but like this is just not your time to give advice. Like, you can give advice in relationships, but when you've been in a relationship for 15 years, don't give advice to the single people about dating. You were never on the apps. You've been in a relationship for years. Like, this is just not your time to give advice. So many people I know, bless their souls, love to give advice about dating apps when they've never seen the inside of one. So, I don't know what to say about that. Do you regret dating your friend? Let's go downstairs with this. So I haven't actually unpacked, so this is quite a sitch. So my plan was to fake tan and unpack and sort all these beauty products out. So maybe I should do that before I tan, whilst I answer your question. Do I regret dating my friend? I regret a few things in my life, like things that I kind of ignored or things that I probably should have done differently, especially in my 20s. I don't regret that relationship. I think personally If I wasn't so scared of losing my best friend in my relationship, I would have had conversations that I feel are really important to me, to make sure like values and wants and vision for the future and stuff are aligned. I would have had those conversations earlier and plucked up the courage to have them earlier, because in hindsight I probably knew a few months into the relationship like what I needed to confirm towards the end of our relationship. So in hindsight, I would guide younger me to be more brave and be more kind of forward and more question asking, question thinking, especially if it's something that I felt like I wanted. But then when I think about, do I regret it? I don't think so, because it made me see relationships and dating so differently now. So many things that I wouldn't tolerate anymore, so many value differences that I personally wouldn't align with in someone anymore. I'm able to spot those much quicker now, and I'm able to ask questions knowing that it can end being okay with that ending. And I think it gave me a really clear idea of what I will and will not tolerate anymore. But I don't know, you know, because I don't think it's good to torture yourself with regret. Like, I just don't feel like that's healthy. I have done that, honestly. I've done that a lot, and I've done that way too much. It only made me miserable. Okay, I just fake tanned, and I was going to fake tan with you, but I fake tan naked. It's too hard to fake tan with you. So I am now self-tanned. I'm going to take off my makeup. But the next question is, if you could only wear one perfume for the rest of your life, which would it be? Now, I love Kilian. I love Kilian. I don't know if I'd want to wear it for the rest of my life. Like, I can't imagine smelling like Love Don't Be Shy when I'm like 70, you know? So I'm going for Timeless. So number one, look how much I've used of this. This is J'adore L'Or. It's my absolute favorite from Dior. It's just jasmine, it's fresh. I feel like I could wear it winter, summer, all year round for the rest of my life. Like, big commitment, you know? So many amazing fragrances. And I just don't think I would get bored of it. And I don't think it would remind anyone of anything else. Like, it's actually really unique and gorgeous. This I've used countless bottles of. I've worn it for like 12 years or something, like so long. My mum loves it, my grandma loves it. I feel like everyone, any age, any phase, summer, winter, like it's just one that I could commit to for the rest of my life. Giorgio Armani C, also a great one. Next question is, any regrets on any clothes you've bought or altered? I have two actually. And they're both black dresses. One is a liar. Look, it still has the tags, and I thought this looks so great on Kim Kardashian. I got it on sale. I thought I'll wear it loads. It looks awful on me, and I don't know what to do with it. I should probably sell it, but I don't know if I alter it, if I'm gonna hate it even more, and then that would be a waste even more. I need to figure out what to do with this, honestly. This has reminded me. And the second one was this sheer Paco dress that I bought in Christmas. No, I bought it in January, and I bought it for St. Moritz. I'll actually just put in a video of me wearing it now, like on the side, and trying to feel okay in a sheer dress. And that was the time when I decided that sheer dresses are not for me. Like, they just don't work for me at all. And that was like an £800 dress. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. My sister says she'll wear it. I don't know if I should get it lined, but I think there's just so much fabric that it would look weird if I got it lined. The next question is, biggest embarrassing or funniest thing or experience that happened with Audrey. You guys are iconic, so thank you for saying that. I think it's because we travel a lot together. We have so many funny memories together. One of my top memories with her was this summer. I just can't even explain this without the context. We just end up in very hilarious scenarios. She ended up on my family holiday. There was a huge family argument where multiple people stormed out the dinner. Anyone that goes on big family holidays, if you don't argue with your family, or like if it's just always peaceful between you all, that's major respect, because, you know, we're all big personalities and stuff happens and we love each other really. Anyway, point being, Audrey was there on my family holiday, and I literally turned to her and I went, Audrey, why don't you tell everyone about your dating life? Audrey takes the stage. She literally talks for 20 minutes to kill the awkwardness of what had just happened. And everyone was so involved, everyone completely forgot. And then by the time the people that stormed out came back, they were so engrossed in her story that it actually really worked out for the best, to be honest. And she was telling everyone about her love life, her dating life, even the dads, the uncles, everyone was so engrossed. She maybe added some things for, you know, like poetic licensing for the vibes, but it was great. Now in hindsight, I should have taken off my makeup before I did my tan. Miami, London or New York, which is better for dating? I've never actually dated in Miami. I've just dated someone who lives in Miami, so I'm not sure about the dating there. I imagine it's more similar to New York than similar to London, but New York in comparison with London, I will say New York is a much higher dating culture. From my experience and like my friends and people I like speak to and stuff, I'm not saying this is like fact by any means. I would say the dating culture in New York is much higher, which is great because everyone goes on dates and everyone's more forward and everyone asks everyone out, blah blah blah. But it also means that everyone's dating multiple people, so you have to be like quite aware of that. Are you afraid of being single for the rest of your life? Firstly, cheers. What a funny question, I'm crying. Secondly, no, I just don't think that's possible, honestly. So not really. Like I think every pot has a lid if you would like a lid for your pot, and I always have boyfriends. I've never had a problem like dating someone or like going into a relationship. But I also think at the same time, if that is supposed to be my path, which I don't think it is, but if that is supposed to be my path, then that's my path, you know? What is one beauty treatment or product that you insist is an instant glow up? Okay, beauty treatment, I would say, is exosomes. Exosomes or mesotherapy, I do both at Dr. Joy Clinic in London. Exosomes really makes your skin glow. It actually made me break out first and then made me glow, but it does make you glow. Both involve this like gun-like thing that has a needle that's very light. It doesn't go into the skin, it just kind of like presses on your skin. But mesotherapy is like a cocktail of vitamins, hyaluronic acid and things like that. And I would say it's a bit more effective, much more effective actually, than a facial. I know people love a lash lift, like my sister looks so good, like instant glow up lash lift vibes. For me, it's definitely getting my eyebrows done. I feel like I look so different before and after I do my eyebrows. And it's also doing self tan. I've never actually done a spray tan. I do my tan myself at home, but maybe a spray tan actually looks better. This is a question I didn't want to answer, but I don't feel like I can avoid. What do you feel about your ex making so many TikToks about you? It's interesting, honestly, because on the one hand, I can appreciate that takes, you know, being a guy and making TikToks, that takes a certain amount of courage. On the other hand, struggling to find the words here, this is definitely drawing a lot of attention because a lot of people have seen my friends' comments on TikTok, and it is winding up a lot of my friends, much more than it's winding up me actually. And I think because they were witness to a different era or train of thought of his thoughts on TikTok and on YouTube, especially in relation to me. Do you have a strong roster of guys you're dating? I don't think you should. This is very funny to me because I didn't believe in a roster. I did not believe in a roster. But last time I became single, I did not believe in a roster, and my sister said to me, who's actually married, but she keeps up to date with y'all single peeps, she was like, look, everyone has a roster. When you date a guy, like I date someone, and if I'm dating someone, I'm only dating them, just because I can't focus on so many things at once. But she literally said to me, everyone has a roster. The guys you're dating have a roster. I think you should have a roster. Turns out it's the only way. Turns out it is the only way, because you just have to go watch some TikTok videos about having a roster. Okay, you have to. I would now advise anyone the same as my sister advised me. Gotta have a roster. Gotta have a roster. Got the little eye masks on and I am in bed, so I can answer more of your questions. I'm actually sat on bed right now. There are two phases for me. There's the sitting on bed and there's the getting in bed. The getting in bed phase is when, you know, we fully, like, I've taken off the eye patches, I've taken out my contacts, I've brushed my teeth. The on bed phase is like either vlogging like now, but then after I vlog, I'm probably gonna doom scroll a bit before getting into bed, you know, maybe some online browsing, one of my favourite things to do. It genuinely calms my soul. Anyway, why are the vlogs always so short? We want more. This is so funny. We need to discuss this because I feel like my vlogs recently have been around 30 minutes, maybe for the last like 6 months, but like, do you want them longer than 30 minutes? Genuinely, like, I need to know, because 30 minutes, like some recently were like, maybe a couple were like 40 minutes. I was thinking maybe I should even go shorter, but like, how much time do y'all have aside to be watching said vlogs? I have no idea how long this Q&A is going to be. Do you think a long distance relationship can work? Mine didn't work for me. Search in the UK. So from my very little experience, one long distance relationship is, I would recommend, and I've watched a lot of TikToks about this as well, TikTok University, you need to have a time that you're next seeing each other. I wouldn't really want to go longer than 2 weeks, honestly, just because I know I'm on my phone all the time, but I'm actually really bad on my phone, and I don't want to be on my phone all the time. I don't want to be on FaceTime all the time. For me, like, I would much rather see someone in person. So a couple of weeks I think would be like the maximum for me, and also to have a plan of when, who is moving what or where. I wouldn't really, kind of like what I said before, I wouldn't really be in a relationship now without having the conversations that I would need to have. So in short, to answer your question, yes, I do think it can work with specific measures in place. Someone said when life was rough, it was your vlogs that kept me company, so thank you. You're like my big sis. It's so crazy to me when people write things like that, because when I'm low, you guys keep me company. I'm gonna cry. But when I'm low, you keep me company, so the fact that I could do that for someone else too is really special. Anyway, let me read the next question. Oh, look at the next question. Are you gonna get back with your ex? My ex is getting a lot of airtime. No, not the relationship for me. Not the man for me. It's funny how men become, well, in my experience with multiple relationships that I've had, the men improve and become what you wish they were almost afterwards. And by that point, it's too late, honestly. And that's happened. 3 of my relationships, my ex-boyfriends have come back and said, like, this is all the work I've done and this is the person I am now and blah blah blah. I wish I could be that person that would just swallow it and say, alright, let's give this another go, but I can't. I told you, I'm so all or nothing. Once the door is closed, it's closed for me. Once that's done, like, I also do so much work on like releasing that relationship, and I don't like to look back. I don't like to go back. Like, nah. You know, do you know how many men there are in this world? Although I do look at people that get back with their exes and think, oh, that's quite sweet, that's really nice, I love a happy ending, but I just know that that's not for me. Go-to first date outfit recommendations. Okay, my go-to first date outfit: grey jeans, like dark jeans, a black body, like straight leg jeans, a black body, and heels, either little heels or big heels, but that's my go-to. Maybe a little black like jacket, not a blazer, like a jacket. That's literally it. So boring, but it's just quite nice not thinking about it. When you are on family holiday, who pays? Now, I thought I should answer this because I actually find it quite interesting, to be honest, and I'd like to like have that open relationship. And probably this vlog is now, what, I'm assuming half an hour at least or something. So if you're still here, then you can have the answer. So when we're on family holiday, if my parents invite us on family holiday, they invite us, meaning they pay, they take us on family holiday, which is so kind and so generous and amazing, because more often than not, I've actually always like something we love to do and love to go, and amazing gorgeous places, and it's just so nice. And when I was younger and my grandparents would take us away, they would invite everyone, like their kids and their grandkids, which is also really special. If I'm ever a grandparent, I would love to do that. That would be so nice to like take my whole family away. That would be so cute. Something I feel very passionately about, and maybe this will change on October 3rd when Taylor Swift's new album comes out, but favorite song of Sabrina Carpenter's new album. Oh, it's so hard. I love the last 30 seconds of Never Getting Laid. Oh, it's so good. I have pretty much exclusively listened to this album since it came out. That's all I've listened to. So I think when my Spotify wrap comes at the end of the year, it's going to be full Sabrina Carpenter. But having said that, Taylor Swift's new album hasn't come out yet. I love Go Go Juice. I love Goodbye. I love My Man on His Willpower. I just feel like, I don't know, it just really speaks to me. And Don't Worry, I'll Make You Worry, just so beautiful. I love singing. I love singing that. I love singing it. Right, contacts are coming out. I'm gonna brush my teeth and head into bed. So I hope you have enjoyed this informal little Q&A, and I will see you next Sunday with another vlog. Mwah. Bye guys.